Hey, I'm back with another one, and in this one, I wanted to say a thought that came to my mind is in some faiths they say confess your sins, and I'm saying what if you confess your compliments, because I think that where I was going with these videos is that bringing awareness to a process changes that process fundamentally. I'm not the first one to say that, but it's been said, and I think that sometimes I quoted the author Swami Vivekananda saying that sometimes one would be wise to be weary around advice because it may be tainted with self-interest or just or biases of different kinds, and actually steer a person in the wrong direction for a person, because what might be the right direction for another person, or even for what would seem for you, that might not be your real direction. So advice could be a disservice in that sense. But I think maybe also compliments could be just because they make us self-aware and self-conscious about things that we might actually have going for us that are a little bit more, that go better unstated, because some things do go better unsaid. Like an example of that is like some of your high level like skill, like when you're doing things that are going a little bit between what's appreciated as conscious and unconscious. A lot of music is like that. Like your higher aspects of music, you get into where you're cross, and even probably athletics too. You're getting between what is conscious and unconscious. That what they would, a lot of people would say muscle memory, but that muscle memory is it's what it is to be conscious and have muscles that respond to your consciousness. That is a deep thing, deeper than a lot of people could appreciate. But also, as deep as that is, the way that skill exists within that and comes to be within that and is expressed within that is as equally sublime as what it is to convey conscious will to muscles and have those muscles react and dispatch that effort and that will accurately. As fine as that motor movement was to be conveyed through a will, is it, that we actually can't locate the position of our will, but we can at least we can see what our will can do. That's very deep, but it's very subtle and delicate also. So sometimes to bring conscious awareness, sometimes conscious things mess it. So like if you want to have like the biggest, so like the biggest I remember one time I was at someone was trying to give me a hard time at a pickup scrimmage basketball, and they were quoting a movie, and it said "Can't Get Right," and they're like, "There go Can't Get Right." But I had actually been way colder than that. I had been able to compete with that person that would make a statement like that, and landed on teams that would be that could show that I wasn't the type of player that they were calling me out as. But sometimes you actually play to your competition in different things. That might be true in music, but I know that's true in sports. You play to your competition, so you might be actually good at something, and you can land on different teams, and you can be good on different teams, and then you go to a court with like people that actually don't play a lot, but they talk a lot, and then you might actually start playing like them, like they're calling you playing, or like they actually play, and now you're like that. So that's deep too, but But sometimes if you imagine the biggest can't get right, can't do right, it might be someone that's overly conscious about stuff, because our conscious mind can mess up things as much as it can help things. But I think that, but sometimes to that point, and also to like development, is that we don't have because we ask not. That's deep, and that's part of scripture, that we have not because we ask not. And I want to say that like sometimes, like, so I think you don't have more orators, you don't have more comedians, and you also don't have as many of musicians as I think are out there, because you don't have the practice going on that it takes to do that. And I think I've told people that there's not a big difference between having taste in music and having creativity in music, because when you're being creative with music, you're accessing your taste a lot for that. So from that standpoint, I think we have a lot more musicians about us and around us and of us than we would appreciate, generally speaking. But in order for it to be expressed, it requires practice. Obviously daily, but multiple times daily in my taste. But then even deeper than the practice, because even to practice you need an approach, or you need an instrument, maybe teaching, maybe a book, maybe resources, but or an opportunity. But what you need to do is ask. before you get good at something is you need to ask, and that's what a lot of us don't do. A lot of us proceed to do something without having ever asked, and we think we're better for not asking, but I beg to differ, and I think that we're greater if we actually ask. So I want to say that I had a couple compliments that I got about like my oratory, like with the videos, and some of my coordination between my hands and the guitar, and they were well-meaning people that respected what I was doing, and they meant those statements. But those statements can also be a little bit stifling and distracting. So I wanted to humble myself of those compliments. And things are also practice is more profound when it's public, I think, because there's accountability and there's actually a quicker learning curve when we're seen doing something and we see ourselves being seen doing something. I think that's part of getting hot in sports games, but also like with instruments. But I wanted to humble myself of those compliments, but also then at the same time ask that I would like to ask to be better at oratory and ask to get better at guitar work, and those would be my if I could ask for anything, it'd be better at oratory. Like extemporaneous is like talking from the cuff about things that you have a thought about, that's extemporaneous discourse, oratory. But then also singing is part of that. So I want to ask to get better at both of those, as oratory is maybe combining singing with oratory, and you could take like humor and storytelling as a part of oratory also in the greatest sense, and music, because I think some of our older musicians, they weren't just simply like technical, like we would appreciate like doing like virtuosic music, although that's a part of it. It was like storytelling, humor, bantering, entertaining in a deeper sense than we appreciate entertaining. Before you had some of the amenities of like digital electronics, that would be more needed, because that helps people grow those lessons in those stories and also enjoy themselves. And I had a teacher once that said that the world would fall apart without musicians or music. But I think you could say that the world would fall apart without storytelling, because music is storytelling. But so I want to ask to get better than that with that, and also better with my hands and my guitar, and just simply ask about that, and then therefore get better with it. But the deeper thing I wanted to say in it is that so I was talking about like being more aware of like being aware. Being more aware of details, because I had a great person once told me that told a group of people that I was with that the difference between winning and losing often is down to detail. And I made other attention to detail, and I made other videos talking about how awesome attention is, and detail is, and discipline is, and how all those maybe collaborate as yet another interesting triplet. But I don't mean to be limited with that statement, but to three. But with that, it can be difficult to appreciate attention for the sake of it, because you become distracted or fathom tangents. But an approach is very significant, whether learning something or observing something. And so I've talked about an approach to reasoning, like the reason for colors is one example. Or within that, I said also leading with other senses other than vision. And I talked a little bit about how to access our hearing differently. But I wanted to say today about maybe accessing smelling, because I said in that video that you could as easily conceivably lead with your sense of smell as anything else, and that might sound more difficult or profound on its sense to say something like that. But I was actually thinking about that today, which is that an example of leading with your nose would be a dog. Now I think that so dogging someone out, to dog someone out is to get all up in somebody's business. That's what dogging someone out is. So when dogs are in the environment, they're dogging out the environment, they're dogging out the animals. But as much as they're using their nose, they're using their imagination. I think they're actually they're thinking about things. Where is something? Where would something be? Where is something now? Where can I find something? That thinking is as much as the smell, and that might actually access some of the sensation of smell. So what I want to say is that a lot of us, we wouldn't put together our imagination and our smell. Now smell transcends time. You smell something and that can put you in a place, or that can put you in a different place that you've been before, like no other sense can. I think smell can. But I was driving today. I got more I want to say, but I don't want to rush it. So I'm gonna start the next video.